This is Kyle Swicegood. Welcome to the Ready to Bid podcast, where we talk about auctions, personal property, real estate, and interesting topics. I've got my friend today here, Mayor Will Marklin. Welcome.
Thank you, Kyle.
I was excited about having this podcast. Tell me a little bit about your history, Daniel Furniture. You're a lifelong resident of Davie County, Mocksville.
Yes, I grew up here, and Daniel Furniture was a family business, and my grandfather started it back in 1936. When he came back from the war, he worked with Punch Daniels. That's why it's called Daniel Furniture. And then my grandfather purchased it from Mr. Daniels. And then my dad took it over, and my dad's still there. He's 83, Johnny Marklin. And then when I graduated from high school in 1987, Davie High School, and I went to Wake Forest. When I left Wake Forest, I wanted to go see the world and do different things. So I worked for a couple of different companies. I lived up and down the East Coast in various places and realized I wanted to be back in Mocksville. When I met my wife, Julie, I was living in Chesapeake, Virginia at the time, and she was living in Raleigh, and we met at a wedding in Charlotte. And then I told her when we were dating that I really wanted to raise my family in Mocksville. So she came to Mocksville and fell in love with it. And, I worked in the family business for a little while, and then I went and opened a store in Boonville, North Carolina, and had it for several years, and decided when my kids were in elementary school that I wanted to be around them as they grew up. Mm-hmm. And that drive to Boonville every morning was pulling me away in that direction. So I decided to come back to Daniel Furniture, and have been there for about 23 years now.
Interesting topic about Chesapeake, Virginia. We've actually sold real estate in Chesapeake, Virginia. What were you doing in Chesapeake?
So I worked for Caterpillar there, and I had a house right in Great Bridge. I don't know if you know where that is. It's a little community within Chesapeake, and I really loved Chesapeake. It was a great place. David Rosser, a good friend of mine, he lived up there with me. That was my first house that I ever bought, was in Chesapeake, Virginia. Really? So I bought it and lived there, had a great time, but I knew always and kind of back in my heart that I wanted to be back around my family.
So you met Julie while you were living in Chesapeake?
Yes.
At a wedding in Charlotte?
At a wedding in Charlotte. So David Rosser, this is an interesting story. David Rosser knew Julie when he was at the Citadel, and she was good friends with Kelly Healy, Katie Healy's sister. They were suite mates at Carolina. So one of their friends had a wedding in Charlotte, and David knew this person getting married. Dawn Morgado was her name, and I was David's plus one. So we went to that wedding. I met Julie there, and we would meet in Halifax, North Carolina, which was halfway between Chesapeake and Raleigh. And we would meet there and kind of go out on dates in Halifax, there was absolutely nothing in Halifax. But we did that for a short period and knew pretty quickly that we wanted to get married. So,
and other than being a Carolina girl, she's from North Carolina.
She is from Bethlehem, North Carolina.
A big town.
They have the Star of Bethlehem there. We used to go to the star lighting every Christmas, and they'd have a big star, and her family ran the post office there, and her dad was a insurance salesman. Her dad was on the school board, and her brother's the chair of the county commissioners there. So they're very family oriented. They went to Bethlehem Baptist, kind of like we go to First Baptist in Mocksville. So when I met her, our families kind of gelled quickly.
Had a lot of unique similarities.
That's right.
Carolina, Wake Forest. What happens when there's a basketball game going on between you guys?
My wife will not sit and watch a Carolina game, whether it be football or basketball. She gets too nervous. So last night, Duke got beat, and she hates Duke. So I called her in there after I watched the end of the game. I called her in there and replayed the end of the game.
Last few seconds for something else.
That's right. And she got to see it. And that made her night. But she went to Carolina. Her dad played football at Carolina, and my two of my children went to Carolina.
How many children do you have?
I've got 3.
Okay. Public service. You have been on the planning board, and I believe you served 2 terms as a council member.
That's right. So when I came back from my furniture store in Boonville, I was working at the Daniel Furniture, and John Gallimore came to me and asked me if I'd be willing to serve on the town planning board. So I served on the planning board for a period of time. That was back before Lowe's or Walmart was here. The new Walmart. So we had a lot of planning going on about big box stores coming into town and what we wanted that to look like. We didn't want just to be a warehouse. We wanted there to be some character there. So we were kind of on the forefront of all that development in Mocksville. I served with Buster Cleary and Richard Broadway and Bill Foster and all those fellows.
Notable names in Mocksville.
So I had a great time. Dr. Slate was the mayor at the time, and Christine Brawley was the town manager. We did lots of good things for the town, and I served on that board for 2 terms, about 8 years. And then Dr. Slate, he was 94 at the time. He decided he did not want to run for re-election and asked if I would run in his place. And I ran for election that year, and there was 2 folks that ran against me, and I won, and I'm on my 3rd term now as mayor.
Okay, what does a mayor do?
So I get asked that question. I speak to 2nd graders quite a bit.
I'm a little older than that,
okay.
but you can dumb it down for me.
Okay.
What does the mayor do?
So I preside over meetings,
Mm-hmm.
and just basically preside over the board at a monthly meeting, and make sure everything goes well at those meetings as well as can be expected. I serve on the Economic Development Board for the county as mayor, and I'm basically the face of the town when there's ribbon cuttings or there's folks coming in town from a company that might be looking to move to Mocksville. I might meet those folks from that company, but I'm almost like the face of the town in welcoming people to Davie County.
You know, I went to your Facebook page, the mayor Facebook page, and the first thing that came to my mind was what you did at Wake Forest. You were a cheerleader.
That's right.
You're a cheerleader for Mocksville. And I would encourage people, if you're not a friend of Mayor Marklin, go to Facebook and hit a like. Where's Mocksville going?
So Mocksville's growing, and I look online from time to time and look at some of the comments coming from people all over the county and Mocksville. There's lots of folks out there that would like for Mocksville to stay the way it is or actually go back to the way it was. They liked it when Mocksville was small and Davie County was small, but the issue with that is we're growing. Folks are coming to town. The big communities around us, Mooresville and Huntersville, they are full. We've got water and sewer infrastructure within the city limits of Mocksville that we can develop and we can grow. And one issue that I explained to people, 20 years ago, a fire truck might have cost $300,000. Well, now you're looking at $1.5 million for a fire truck. We haven't gone up on taxes. Our tax rate is the same as it was 20 years ago. So to pay for that, we have to bring in industry and we have to bring in people to be able to afford the things that we've become used to.
It's a tug of war.
That's right. So we're trying to manage the growth and do it in a smart way, but it's coming regardless of what people want. The growth is coming. And you look at towns, and I look in where my wife is from, Bethlehem, Taylorsville up there, and not to call out Taylorsville, but you don't see growth there. And my brother-in-law, who's on the Alexander County Commission, he talks to me about the fact that economic development there is not happening. They don't have an I-40 coming through their county, and they struggle financially because they're trying to get the economic development, but they just can't get it, and they struggle paying for things.
What's the biggest challenge you think Mocksville has over the next 5 or 10 years? I think I know what it is, but I want to hear you say it.
Well, and our growth is a challenge. They're doing a great job with Public Works. We've got great teams in place. Our parks department's growing. We just built a new pickleball courts. We've got business and industry coming. Managing that growth is going to be difficult. One issue that we've got that, and I see this quite a bit, and I know the county's going to be dealing with this moving forward, is fire. The fire departments, you got 13 fire departments in a county, and if, like I said, a fire truck costs as much as it does, it's very difficult to pay for a new fire truck or even a used fire truck now. And when those things become outdated and you need to replace them, it's very difficult to pay for that spread across that many fire departments. Mm-hmm. So that's an issue. Volunteerism isn't what it used to be. So looking for that many volunteers in 13 fire departments, that's a big issue. And I know that's county, and I'm just the town of Mocksville. But I know the town of Mocksville has gone to a full-time fire department where we do have full-time firemen. That's an issue that we're dealing with.
That's been a good thing, though, right?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It's just expensive.
Sure.
And
what I thought you were going to say is keeping a lid on increased taxes.
Well, and I understand why you'd say that, but they did the reevaluation last year, so everybody's values went up.
Mm-hmm.
And because the values went up, we have more tax revenue than we had before. Our tax rate has not gone up since I have served on the planning board, the town board, or as mayor. So we've not increased the tax rate, but we are receiving more tax revenue because valuations have gone up.
Mm-hmm.
We've made some great financial decisions over the last several years, working with the county and law enforcement, and contracting out with the sheriff's department to do the law enforcement with Mocksville. We've got more boots on the ground than we used to. I know some people, they disagree with that. They still would like for us to have a police department. But, we had overlap in service where we had sheriff's deputies and policemen doing the same thing. But now we're working great with the sheriff's department, and JD and his folks are doing a great job. We see those sheriff's deputies all over the place in Mocksville frequently. So I think that was a good financial decision, and we're making some good moves with regionalization of our water, where we went in with the county developing the new water plant.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that we're looking at for future development, future growth. And I think that as long as the town board keeps making good financial decisions and keeps moving forward, I think we'll do well financially. We have a very financially conservative board.
Well, we're going to begin to wrap up. You and I are products of Mocksville. I'm a little older than you, but you're catching up with me quickly.
Yes.
I can't help but be proud of the fact that you're our mayor, and your interest in Mocksville. Even though you were in Chesapeake, Virginia, you had a desire to come back to your hometown. And I want to thank you for your public service, not just on being a mayor, but on the planning board and being on the town council for 2 terms, and giving, because I know given time, that the pay is not substantial.
Right.
It's all about giving back to the community. So thank you for what you do. I'm proud to call you Mayor Marklin, and I really appreciate you coming in this morning.
Thank you, Kyle. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
If you have any questions about readytobid.com, reach out to me or visit us on our website at ready2bid.com. And if somebody wants to get in touch with the mayor,
you can call me anytime. I'm at Daniel Furniture 6 days a week. And I'm 6 days a week, and I'm at that town board meeting. We meet the first Tuesday of every month, and that meeting's been going on as long as I've been mayor. So you're welcome to come. They're open to the public.
And he's got an open door. Thanks for listening.